Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our latest MWC Preview Themed Week webinar. Now, all this week, we're looking ahead to June's show in Barcelona, exploring the big topics and themes that we can expect from the event. And it doesn't get much bigger than today's focus. Now, I'm sure you've all seen the headlines made by TelcoDR's CEO and co-founder, Danielle Royston, when she scooped in and grabbed Ericsson's 6,000 square meter space at MWC with her plans to unveil a cloud city. This will be a space dedicated to the suppliers that are driving telco to the public cloud. Well, today, Danielle is here to explain how telco carriers can double their ARPU by leveraging their networks into what she calls customer love. Making that switch starts with telcos utilizing their most valuable asset, their network, to deliver more personalized and enriching experiences for subscribers via a super app. This is going to be a great discussion. Do take some notes because she will be here to answer your live questions immediately following her video message. Don't be shy, submit a question in the box underneath the video. Well, with that, let's get things going. I can promise you that this will not be dull. Let's hear from Danielle.
Thanks, Justin. Hi, I'm Danielle Royston, CEO and founder of TelcoDR, but you can call me DR. Ready for some more straight talk about telco? It's go time. Let's do it. Holy shit. It sure is a great time to be a tech company. I mean, if you're Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Grab, Twilio, DoorDash, or Uber, life's pretty great. Just look at these stock prices over the past 5 years, with their shareholder value going up and to the right. Totally amazing. But where's telco? Dare I add our stocks to this awesome chart? Let's compare these fabulous tech stocks to AT&T, Vodafone, Telefonica, TIM, American Mobile, and Zain Group. Huh, not so great, right? Yep, I'm talking directly to you, senior telco execs. I'm here to wake you up. Why is it that Wall Street doesn't see you as tech? Why aren't CSPs seen as driving all the tech change? Why is it always Apple, Amazon, and Google who get the big buzz? But more importantly, why isn't it you? Before I came to this industry, I always thought of carriers as tech companies. I gave more of my money to AT&T than to Apple because I really cared about the quality of the network. But I also wondered why on earth the carriers allowed all the other tech companies to take center stage. After spending the last few years in telco, I now understand why. It's because you are network people. You are not customer people. I get it. You have the security blanket. You're a network oligopoly. It's crazy expensive to build a network, and it's expensive to buy spectrum. It takes operational chops to run a killer network, and it takes great skill to convince Wall Street to finance all of it. You telco execs are amazing at all those things. But because you focus on the network, it means you don't focus on the customer. And so far, you haven't had to. Every telco's KPI is to be less shitty than their next competitor. You don't have to be the best. Just don't be last. Everyone else's NPS is in the 30s too. Their mobile operatings are just as terrible as yours. Everyone sucks at customer sat, and it's widely acknowledged and accepted. Let's talk about the cost of that. The cost is not measured on market share against other MNOs. The cost is measured in lost ARPU that the tech guys are getting. Everyone knows about the loss of texting to WeChat, WhatsApp, and the other OTT apps. But it is not just texting. The total addressable market, or TAM, of the mobile app disruptors is huge. Instead of remaining network focused, you should be leveraging your network into a premier position. And because you're a network people, I bet you think I'm talking about coercive network leverage. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about love, customer love. There is one thing the highly valued tech companies all have in common. They all crush it on customer love. They look at every interaction with the customer and say, how do we make the customer love this? Like, Netflix has easy monthly cancellation. Amazon does no questions asked returns. Uber gives users a real-time view into driver rating and availability. Compare those ideas to the standard telco customer interaction. The highly valued tech companies don't have the network oligopoly to fall back on like you do. To survive, they must make customers love them. So they focus on it in a big way, and it pays off. Their NPS is close to 70, and they have app ratings of 4.5 or higher. A far cry from your 30s NPS and app ratings of 3.5. If you want to have those huge tech multiples for yourself, you have to start thinking about these guys as your new competition, not the other telcos in your market. The crazy thing is, if you give up using your network as a crutch and put all of your focus on the customer, the network becomes an asset worth more than all the super apps. Let's step back and talk about the value of super apps and becoming customer-centric. Retooling around the customer is a huge change, so let's make sure it's worth it. We aren't talking about 25% improvement. I'm going to show you that if you become customer-centric, you can double your ARPU, double your valuation multiples, and drive big shareholder value just like the tech companies on that chart. Now, let's talk about the customer-focused super apps. There are hundreds of companies in a variety of categories vying for your subscribers' disposable income. Movies, food delivery, financial services. Who are they, and why does Wall Street give them such high valuations and like them so much? Well, first, look at what they are telling Wall Street about their TAM. They broadcast ridiculously huge TAMs that are greater than the telco TAMs. You know who should have a ridiculously huge TAM? You! Hello! What I'm saying is that if you got what's yours, you double in size. And if you take the TAMs they throw around, you'd be 5 times as big. When I think about the opportunity to double ARPU without having to double the CapEx to build out the network, I say to myself, hell yeah, we should totally go do it. And do whatever it takes to go get it. For example, let's talk about Grab. Grab is a Southeast Asian super app company with an expected $40 billion valuation. Grab's customer focus started in rideshare, but then leveraged its customer love into wallet, deliveries, hospitality, and investing. Their ARPU is now larger than the telco's ARPU in countries where they compete. And they have a higher valuation than those telcos too. Imagine if you could combine a great user experience with valuable services that helped grow your ARPU. That would be huge. So how do you build a super app? I bet right about now you're wishing you had a super app. Everyone wants a super app. A lot of money has been unsuccessfully spent by telcos trying to build their own. I bet you're saying to yourself, DR, your pie in the sky sounds great, but it has no chance of success. Well, I'm betting things are about to change. There is a public cloud startup called Totogi that is going to help carriers build world-class super apps. To have a successful super app, there is one key metric you need to know. It is the KPI that determines if your super app will be a success or a flop. It's not about the daily active users. It's not the average order value. It's not even gross merchandise value. It's all about the frequency of use per day by the user. That's the metric that matters. How many of you use that metric in your telco apps? Do you have a team driving up user app interactions every day? Most telco apps are used for top-up or to check a bill. This is a huge missed opportunity. Super app companies excel at building great experiences and driving a huge amount of interactions. They have to. Their business depends on it. They have to be customer-focused. They have to keep bringing the user back to the app every day, multiple times a day. And you know what? They do a great job. Customers love their super apps. They have great user experiences, like Apple credit cards, no information required application process. They have high net promoter scores because of customer-friendly policies, like how DoorDash retroactively credits fees when you move to a better plan. And they have great App Store ratings because they do simple things like remember your last order or allow you to use the app rather than force you to call customer service. Customers of successful super apps love it when new services are added. And because of the customer love, every time something is added to the app, customers adopt it immediately. New services drive frequent daily user interactions. So our problem in Telco is we have an app that is only open once per month, not multiple times per day. And without frequent opens, there is no super app. What do we have in Telco that we could use to help with this problem? I wonder. While you don't currently have a mobile app that subscribers use multiple times a day, you have something that's 10 times better. You have a network. Subscribers already interact with your network 10 times more frequently than any user with any of the super apps. But telcos don't leverage those interactions into the insanely valuable engagements they could be. Worse, even if you wanted to, your crappy, over-customized on-premise solutions make it impossible. Thankfully, there's this new tech that's come around. You may have heard of it, the public cloud. When you bring the enabling technology of the public cloud, you can turn your network interactions into valuable super app interactions. And there's a special new startup that's going to help you do it, Totogi. Totogi will leverage all those network interactions and turn them into valuable customer interactions. Let me repeat that. Totogi will leverage all those network interactions and turn them into valuable customer interactions. Totogi allows a carrier to leverage its network and all the network interactions into customer engagement. This is something the super apps don't have, but will wish they did. But this magic technology is not enough. Telcos also need to move from being network-focused to being customer-focused. Totogi enables telcos to chase exciting revenue growth without that annoying massive CapEx investment. Totogi is going to help you transform your sucky mobile apps with the crappy customer ratings into something your subscribers want to open multiple times a day and become a platform for growth. I'm so excited about Totogi, I'm investing $100 million into it. You heard me right, $100 million. Is this what it feels like to be SoftBank? I'm investing in Totogi because it's going to enable telcos to leverage the network interactions into super app usage, which will lead to an improved subscriber experience and will give you a massive jump in your ARPU. And once you do that, all those telco valuations will go from down here to up here. And so I've been talking to some folks, checking in, feeling them out, getting their thoughts. And I've been asking them, what do you think about telcos building super apps? And the response has been click. Everyone says no way, telcos can't do it. Zero chance, total goose egg. One suggested I build a bonfire with $100 million because then at least I wouldn't waste years of my life. Well, I think those people are dead wrong. I do believe that telcos can build super apps and make them super successful. The public cloud is changing all parts of telco, and Totogi and super apps are fundamentally changing the customer relationships. In 1 month at MWC, people will see what Totogi has to offer, and they will understand why I'm making this bold call. Because Totogi takes the value of the network and the power of the public cloud to help telcos move from being network-centric to being customer-centric. Boom. If you want to make this transformation and reap all the financial benefits, you will have to compete for customers with a whole new set of players. You will no longer compete with the network-focused guys like the other telcos. Instead, you will be competing against the customer-focused companies. These players don't have a network to fall back on like your old competitors. They know they have to make customers love them. Their customer loyalty is so off the charts, their customers are called fans. So if you want that big money, you will have to compete on their turf and make the customers want to choose you. You need Apple-level loyalty. That bar is uber high. We will have to give up the security blanket of the network and change. Instead of NPS in the 30s, it needs to be in the 70s. Instead of mobile operatings in the 3s, they need to get 5 stars. I'm betting big that Totogi will make that possible. I'm going to help you every step of the way, starting with my keynote next month at MWC. Join me, and I'll share the secrets to converting your super valuable network interactions to make your super app a massive success. We're going to have an amazing time, and I can't wait to see you there.
Well, I'm delighted to now be joined by Danielle Royston. Good to see you.
It's great to see you. I can't wait to see you in a month. It's going to be so awesome. But yeah, it's great to see you.
It's going to be good to be in person. But before then, DR, well, you've just given us quite a bit to talk about. I did promise in my intro that it wouldn't be dull, and you certainly delivered.
No, I mean, we spend a lot of time working on our videos, and I have a really amazing team, and the videos are really fun. And especially with the pandemic and the different, sort of virtual experiences, it can kind of be lonely and sad. And I always try to make people laugh when I do my videos. And so some of my jokes are a little bit cheesy, but it's really fun. So we have a great time.
It was fun to watch, and obviously, you made a lot of big points in there, and I do want to obviously go through the main points that you revealed, DR.
For sure.
Just before DR does that, just a quick reminder, as I said at the beginning, we do want to hear your questions. So all those viewers watching, if you do have a question for DR, simply put a question in the box underneath the video screen that you can see of us, and I'll do my best to pose it to Danielle a little bit later. DR, before we take audience Q&A, I've got some questions for you. The big one, the one that kind of stood out, I think, for most people, the jaw-dropping moment in that, I think. TelcoDR investing $100 million in Totogi. Well, wow, that is an awful lot of money, DR. Tell us a little bit more about Totogi and your decision to make this investment. What was it based on?
Yeah, so I love Totogi. You hear all these people that are in telco and they're always like, I've been in telco for 20 years or 30 years. I'm kind of a baby when it comes to my experience in telco. I've been in telco for, I guess, 4.5 years. And that really happened when I became CEO of Redney. And that, for the most part, is a charging business. And I love charging. It's a great problem. It's the heart of the monetization engine of any telco. And it's a really important function. And, when you talk to people in charging, the attitude is like, this is a market that's been in decline for years. It's a total commodity. In fact, maybe we should go horizontal, not be focused in telco. In fact, I think that was a strategy. And when I walked into Redney, they were like going to take their chargers and roll it out to utilities and automotive. And they had all these different ideas. And I think charging is super awesome. I mean, I don't think it's a commodity at all. I think it's a super important area. I think it can drive huge change for telcos. And I started to do this work when I was at Optiva, sort of combining the idea of charging with the public cloud. Totogi really does that as well. They take charging and they bring the public cloud in, and it's both of those ideas. And so I really gravitated towards this team and their ideas. And I think really what's different about the Totogi team and what makes it a very different charger from anything out there in the market, I really do think it's a completely different approach to charging, is that what they're going to do is help CSPs become, as I say in my video, more customer focused and use what their biggest asset is, which is their network, to drive customer love, what I call customer love, and and really start to engage the subscriber. And so when you combine, that idea with the public cloud, which I think is a really exciting idea, I think there's a lot of movement and progress with O-RAN. We saw the big announcement with AWS and Dish that happened I think it was about a month ago. You got SpaceX launching tons of LEO satellites. There's a lot of innovation going on in telco. When I had the opportunity to invest big into Totogi, charging innovation, public cloud, let's go do it. Let's go big. And so it was a pretty easy decision for me. And I think those guys have a really great idea. I'm going to help them as much as I can. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the charging market just made headlines again in about the last 15 minutes there. I'm sure we'll get more questions on Totogi from our audience. So I'm sure I'll come back to that a little bit later. DR, obviously another clear takeaway from that video message. You're clearly so passionate about the fact that telcos, they're just too network focused and they're not customer focused enough. What's kind of driven you to that view over the past few years? Tell us a little bit more about that insight.
Yeah, it's funny. I listened to a really great podcast a couple of weeks ago with Peter Adderton, the Boost guy. And he was just talking about how, we invest all this money for 5G, we buy spectrum, build out a new network, and everyone's in search of the 5G killer app that's going to increase ARPU. And at the end of the day, and I think this happened with 4G as well, is that, you have these grand plans to charge more for, the higher speeds or the better network. And then the guy next door doesn't charge more. And then now you're stuck and you didn't really increase ARPU. And so, he made a funny joke because he's like, if I hear about the next robotic arm surgery, 5G powered hospital, right? It's just, it's just not there. And so what are we going to do? The OTT apps keep coming in, super apps and I say this in the video, it's not so much that you're losing ARPU to the next guy in telco. You're losing ARPU to the other players in the market, right? And so we got to do something, right? We got to do something different, right? Building another network, right? We're just going to prove that we just can't charge more for it. So, and I think, just again, being an outsider coming into telco, I think people need to realize is that Silicon Valley companies and these little, these startups and whatever, they don't have this network crutch to rely on, right? They have to have they have to provide an awesome customer experience. And again, I call it this customer love. And so they have nothing to fall on, back on. And I think what it forces them to do is really innovate around having really great customer focused ideas, right? And so I think because customers love them, it drives a huge, total addressable market. They get these great, huge valuations, which leads to huge ARPU and high value. And I think our network is our biggest asset, but you can't just rely on it. It can't be the end all be all. And so we got to give up this crutch, and we really got to refocus the company, the telco, on the customer. And I think that's what Totogi is trying to do. And I am really passionate about that as well. And I think it's a great idea. And so I think many people have tried to do this before, kind of bring that subscriber love. But I think when you bring in the public cloud, that sort of is Reese's peanut butter cup. I don't know if everyone has a Reese's. It's a chocolate and peanut butter together. It makes it great. And I'm super excited about that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're pushing for this idea of a super app from telcos, DR. But of course, telcos, they've tried that in the past and they failed pretty miserably. Why did they fail before?
Yeah, I think there's two reasons, right? And I've been spending, I guess the last 12 months thinking about this idea. But I guess the first reason, and again, it's in the video, but it's really all about the frequency of engagement in the application. And everyone, I'm constantly going around like, when was the last time you opened your telco's app? And I'm asking people all over the world, right? And it's shockingly infrequent. Most people can't remember the last time they did it, especially in postpaid. What I mean by frequency of engagement is how many times you're opening that app, right? Is it one time a month? Is it a day? Is it an hour? Is it a minute? And this is the most important thing that you got to have when you're building a great app. WeChat, for example, has really, they've spent billions of dollars trying to really drive this number up. They're like launching different services to figure out, how can we expand that frequency of open and the frequency of usage. And so, they're like wasting money on like bike rental. And I don't know if you remember all those pictures of like, bikes just like unrented, but they're really just trying to get people to like, drive the download, drive the usage. And what can we do? And I think, so that's number one. You really have to focus on that. I don't think we've done that in the past. All the apps, I did a data research project where we looked up every single telco mobile app in the world and Android and Google and Apple and averaged the ratings. The ratings are like kind of pitiful. They're like in the 3s. I think it's like 3.5 on average. And so no one uses a 3.5 app rated, app. At all. And so we got to really improve that and make them valuable. And I think the second big reason, I think both of these are important. We're not leveraging the network for that frequency of engagement. And I think this is really a big part of Totogi's magic. This is their insight, is that we do engage with the network way more than apps, right? Like my phone knows what time I woke up. It knows the towers I've hit on the way in. It knows what apps I'm using. It knows if I'm a streamer or a gamer. If I text or I call, and there's so much interesting data there that we could leverage to drive that frequency of engagement. And so, I think it's a great, sort of when you combine these things, I think, obviously if it was easy, people would have done it already. I think there's a tough problem to solve here, but if it can be solved, I think it's going to unlock a ton of ARPU. I think it's really a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're right, DR, about future telco success being all about the frequency of use and you want it per day by the user, you're talking loads of daily interactions with this app from the telcos. What is Totogi then going to do to turn those network interactions into actual subscriber engagement? Is there some kind of secret sauce behind this?
Yeah, and I think that's the piece I intentionally left out of the video, right? I mean, the video that we just all watched, the whole idea there is, I think the key takeaway is we need to become not network-centric, we need to become customer-focused. I think if you believe that it's about frequency of usage, that you could offer mini apps and other valuable services that could increase the wallet share with the subscriber. And I think the big missing piece is, okay, great, I'm with you, DR. Yeah, that's how super apps work. Duh. I want a super app, but how do I do that? And it was intentionally left out. It wasn't that I didn't forget about that super important piece, but that's what I'm going to talk about in my keynote at MWC on June 29th. And so I'm about to go on a little Twitter storm, right? I love Twitter. I think Justin, we follow each other on Twitter. I love Twitter. It's such a great platform for getting out a message. And so I'm going to start a little Twitter storm about really encouraging people to come to Barcelona to hear the talk. Like I said, it's on Tuesday, the 29th. It'll be 9:30 Barcelona time. I believe it's available on the GSMA app and website. People that know me know I'm best in person. I'm super animated. We're going to try to make it really great. You can see it virtually, but I'm going to encourage you to come in person. But my next talk is going to be all about that. How do you convert network events and network data into and drive frequent daily usage? And I think that's the big missing piece.
Well, it's not just your keynote that we'll be watching from MWC Barcelona DR. There's small matter of a very big space at Barcelona. And I have been following your Twitter updates on developments of Cloud City. I know you've got more to come. But what's the latest you can share with us on the actual Cloud City space? What are we going to see in Cloud City?
Yeah. So I know a lot of people who are watching, like, the exhibitors have made their call for the most part, right? Like, I mean, planning an event like this, I mean, we used to take at Optiva 6 months. Planning a space like Ericsson Space, I recommend a lot more than 100 days. I think they used to take like 9 months or something. But I think for executives listening right now, the attendees are still in a window where they can decide to go. And, should I go? Is it too soon? Is it worth it? And, obviously I'm not a medical professional, even though I am DR, I'm not a doctor, right? But, when I talk to friends that are vaccinated, I really want to just remind people that, it's been 2 years since the last MWC. If you don't go this year, it'll be 3 years, right? In March. I know you guys are going to go back. GSMA is going to go back to the regular scheduled MWC in February and March. But 3 years, right? There's been huge changes, right? 6 months ago, who would have thought there would have been, a cloud city that GSMA and MWC and me, like, who the hell is DR, right? Would take over the Ericsson space of all things and change the conversation to be around cloud. And I think, again, I didn't really know this. I kind of look like a sage, but who would have thought Dish would be building a 5G network completely on AWS to build a fourth carrier in the United States? The rate of change in the public cloud is huge. And if you go 3 years between MWCs, before you figure out what's going on, you're too far behind. And so it's been 2 years. It's long enough. 3 years is too long. You have to come to Cloud City and see what we're doing. 2 of the Dish partners will be in the booth, Mavenir and Allot. Totogi stuff is going to make you realize you want to take all your Amdoc stuff and like throw it in the trash because it's obsolete technology. It's crazy. Cloud City is not going to be the same old telco stuff. You're not going to the boring Ericsson booth. It's going to be amazing. We're oversold. We have 30 plus vendors. We have 80-ish demos. We have 2 immersive experiences. I'm going to have concerts, right? I'm going to put out a Twitter poll of like, who should we put in the booth? We talked about this earlier. Eddie Vedder, right? Eddie Vedder acoustic in the booth would be freaking awesome. Can I say that? It's live.
It's too late. You did.
Alicia Keys, Stevie Nicks. I think I'm going to put a poll on Twitter, like, what should we pick? Bare Naked Ladies is available, but I'm going to throw some yacht parties. Yacht parties in June in Barcelona.
It doesn't get much better than that, does it? No.
Yeah. And so planning this booth has been a bitch. I'll be honest. I mean, talk about the hangover, making a decision kind of on the spot, right? I mean, it's been kind of crazy, but it's coming together. I posted some pictures a couple days ago on Twitter, kind of just like the different parts of the booth. We're going to have obviously a big demo space, meeting areas, because MWC is about deal making. It's about meeting face to face, meeting suppliers, negotiating deals, and I'm really, really excited to do that. We're gonna have a little mini conference in there. We're gonna have a streaming TV show. It's gonna compete with your TV show. You guys as
long as you come and talk to Mobile World Live, we'll let you on.
We'll totally do that, right? But I'm gonna have a very cloud focus, and so we're booking Amazon people, Google people, Microsoft people. I'm sure my team's all bitter that I'm like stealing everyone's thunder. We're gonna have customer talks, vendor talks. We're partnering with the Cube, which is another little outlet where we're going to have like a little interview desk, an anchor desk where we're going to have interviews. I have a restaurant. I'm building a restaurant. I got an awesome press area, like a chill area and an interview area. So yeah, I mean, I might be the dumbest person in telco. I don't know. But I am like, it's on, right? 100 days ago, people were like, I'm not sure. I mean, United States, we're not wearing masks in buildings anymore. People are ready for lockdown to be over. We spent a year and a half indoors. I think people are psyched to get on planes and meet again. So
yeah, I haven't been on a plane.
June 28th is perfect.
Absolutely, I've not been on a plane for 15 months. So get me to Barcelona. DR, we're going to take some Q&A from the audience, and actually the first question that we had that came in kind of follows on from what you've just been talking about with Cloud City. One of our viewers wants to know how on earth you've been able to fill Ericsson's booth in such a short space of time. As you say, most companies have 9 to 12 months to prepare this. You've had 2 or 3 months.
I'll be honest, we're probably overspending, right? Where I'm just like, vendors, who can help me with this booth? And I'm number one, just very lucky and blessed that I have a really great team. New vendors I've partnered with new vendors that I didn't know before, that are very familiar with the space, to help me out. I think the people coming to demo are really excited. A lot of them have never been in a space like the Ericsson space. They've been in like a little stall or a little booth or in a bad hall or on the edges. I mean, this is premier space. It is hollowed ground. And we're going to have Mavenir pitching O-RAN to every Ericsson RAN customer. I mean, if I were Ericsson, I'd be like, shit, did we make the right decision to bail? Maybe we should have gone, right? And so this is just a huge opportunity for the 30 plus companies in this booth, right? Customers know exactly. I mean, I don't even have to put the address. I don't have to say hall 2. I just say Ericsson. Everyone knows where it is. Yeah. Right. And so we're spending a ton of money on it. But I think the ROI on this was instant. Right. I think before people were like, who was TelcoDR? Who's Danielle Royston? I think maybe 100 people knew me. 200 people knew me. I think thousands of people know me. I'm going to keep driving. And I'm really trying to create this community of the people who are driving change in telco around public cloud. And I've met a bunch of new companies I didn't know existed. And so I've been meeting with them. What do you do? How to use the cloud? And there's a community out there. And I think it's a great opportunity for a telco exec. Because typically in a normal MWC year, the big guys they own the keynotes. You go to their big booths, they own the airwaves, and it's really hard when you're a smaller vendor to kind of break through that. This is our year. I think next year we go back to normal MWC. I think the normal guys come back. They hog the airwaves, and our chance is over. And so I think this is just, if you're a small guy, if you're an up-and-coming vendor, you're using this technology, and you're trying to break through that glass ceiling or whatever in telco, Cloud City is it.
Yep. Certainly seems your message is to really make the most of this very different year, I think.
Capitalize. I mean, right? Lemonade from lemons, right? I mean, it's been crappy. I mean, it really has. And people are tired of it and they're ready for it to be over. And I mean, it was close, right? I mean, June 28th, like if it had been in September, it'd probably be a no-brainer, but it's not. It's June 28th. We're doing it. And I was like, flip a coin. Let's do it. I think vaccines are taking off. COVID's coming down. Obviously, there's some hot spots in the world that are still having tremendous struggles, and not every country is letting their citizens leave, and so that's a little bit tough. But if you can make it, it's going to be fun. Yeah.
Good stuff. Let's have another look at the audience Q&A. A more serious question here from one of our viewers. Points out that telcos can often be laggards when it comes to adopting the public cloud and also modernizing their approach to subscriber engagement. How long do you think it's going to be before the majority of carriers jump on this train of yours?
So one of my big heroes is Elon Musk. I love that guy. I mean, you love him or hate him. He's kind of, this vanguard, right? Really. In 2003, he told the world that he was going to go to Mars. I think people were like, wait, aren't you the PayPal guy? Right? What are you doing? And so, and he just sort of ignored them, heads down, started building his relandable rocket. People were like, okay, that kind of works. I think at the end of last year, he said 4 to 6 years, we'll put people on Mars. And I like to poll telco execs, and I do this all the time. Which will be first? Will telco get to the public cloud before Elon Musk puts people on Mars? There's one that I think that's easy and one that I think that's really hard. And apparently all the execs think that Elon Musk is going to put people on Mars before we get to the public cloud. And I'm like, seriously? Like, come on, guys. Like, let's give it a try. I think there's been a lot of movement. I think COVID has helped. I think people saw, crap, we can't go to the office. We can't go to our data centers. We need cloud tools like ASAP. And the people that were already starting to think about it adopted it really quickly. There were other people that it sort of slowed down. They're, they thought they were digital, and it kind of was a wake-up call, like we're not as digital as we thought, because we never thought our stores would be closed, and we can't, right? You can't get a SIM. How are people going to get SIMs? So I think COVID has really helped. I think different continents are moving at different speeds. So when I talk to like Western European telcos, they've made a decision. They've done the math. They've kicked the tires. They've signed one partnership, maybe 3 partnerships with the different hyperscalers. But then I talk to Latin America, right, and South America, and they're like, oh, we're not sure. Is it safe? Is it secure? Privacy? They're still kicking tires. And it's kind of interesting how the continents are different. Africa wants to, doesn't think they can. I'll tell everyone from Africa watching, you can. You totally can. It is like, just because it's not super close, it actually, it totally works. I think Middle East, where it is matters to them still. And so you kind of just, Asia, I think Asia is a lot like Western Europe, kind of moving a little bit slower, but they're moving as well. And so, I think when people start to make the announcements like the Dish thing, I think people are going to watch Dish. Is this, I don't know exactly how they're implementing all their public cloud, but AWS came out with a very strong message. They're helping those guys. I mean, this is big news that we're going to watch for the next couple of years of, can those guys do it? Can Charlie pull this off? And I think they got to get to the public cloud, because I think they're going to start to realize the trade-off between, the encroachment of the potential encroachment of the hyperscalers in your business versus leveraging their technology for your gain. I think you're going to have to make the decision to move to the public cloud. I think as an executive, when you're like, in my market is my major competitor, the next closest guy, or the guy I'm trying to take down, starting to use that technology, and I'm still clutching my servers and keeping them on premise. I think those are things you got to really think about. And so, we could bury our heads in the sand and wish that public cloud wasn't around. We can, right? But that's not reality. Reality is it's here, and you can use it. And is it better to stand on the shoulders of the greatest technology firms and talent in the world for your benefit, and really use it deeply and not be so worried that they're out to screw you over? Or is it better to, sit there and fight with procurement for the next capacity expansion you need to do and wait months to do it? And I think the business benefits way outweigh the potential risk that, AWS is going to kick you off their platform or take over your network. Yeah.
You see Dish and AWS as being something of a bellwether or poster child for this industry.
I do. I mean, I didn't exactly cry when I saw the news, but I sort of had this sort of verklempt moment of, I've been this sort of crazy person in telco, right? I've been talking about public cloud now for 4 years. Everyone tells me it won't work. Everyone tells me they'll never do it. Everyone tells me they have data centers. They bring up security and privacy and data regulations and all these things. And I'm like, you really think AWS hasn't thought about all these objections? Are you serious? Right? Like, and I sit them down with AWS or with a Google or with a Microsoft, and literally it takes 30 minutes to like completely obliterate all their objections. And people are like, okay, yeah, this is awesome. Why am I not using it? I'm like, exactly. And so now with a major network in the United States building, the fourth network, and the way that they talk, again, I don't know I haven't looked under their hood. I don't know exactly all the implementation details, but the way that they talk, this is a new way to build a telco. And I get it. Like it's greenfield, they're starting from scratch, and that's different than, I got 3G and 4G and 5G still to support and all this other stuff. But I think if you could do it from scratch, I think this is what you would do. And so you got to connect those dots between where you are today and how you would do it if you had a clean sheet of paper, and how do you move there, and how do you make that transition? And I think that's a tough, that's a good conversation for a boardroom to have and for a senior executive team to have with the CFO and the CEO of like, how do we get there? And you can sit there and just roll out another 6G network by Spectrum and all this other stuff and cross your fingers that the ARPU's there. Or you can sit there and figure out how to change the economics of your business in a dramatic way and change the speed of business and really drive the customer love and really show us what is great about the network and what is great about being a customer of whatever telco you are. So yeah.
DR, we've talked about Dish and AWS, but one of our viewers has asked if there's any other instances or examples that you're aware of that actually involve telcos moving to the public cloud and improving customer satisfaction. Is there any other examples?
Yeah, I mean, I think Vodafone's analytics project that they're doing with Google is a really exciting example. I had a friend that was working on that project, and so just to get everyone up to speed, because not everyone knows all the scoop in cloud and telco like I do. Like I literally have a newsletter where I sit there and like scope all the cloud news and put it all together. So October of 19, Simon Harris, who's the head of Vodafone Analytics, participated in Google Cloud Next in London and said that they were going to move all of their analytics, shut down their Hadoop servers. I think they had like 600 Hadoop servers. They were going to move, 20 petabytes of data up to Google. And they were going to just add all this agility around their analytics. It was supposed to be 18 months long, which put us right into, March of 21. I think we saw, I want to say about a month ago, they announced a new 5-year deal with Google, and they're going to expand it, right? They're going to expand the project. So to me, that says that was a successful lift, and move into the public cloud. We kind of put some feelers into Vodafone. They were like, it was hard. It was harder than we thought. Google was great. Google helped us a ton. If I had to do it again, I wish I had done it 5 years ago. Right? They're totally worth it. We can run models faster. We can get insights faster. We can see ways to increase ARPU with our customers. Now they're going to have to get it from analytics over into the way to operationalize that. This is where I think Totogi comes in, because I think Totogi is really going to connect analytical insights with the charger. And I think that's an important key that not everyone has done. I don't think anyone has done before, right? We weren't doing that at Optiva before, and no charger that I know does that. And so I think that's a really exciting project. I like to keep my eye on M1 in Singapore. Mm-hmm. Yep. If Nathan Bell is watching, I'm constantly stalking that guy. I'm like, he's the chief digital officer over there. And I participated in a panel with him, and I've been like, come onto the podcast. Let's write a book together. And he just doesn't even talk to me. So, Nathan Bell, I'm stalking you. I'm not going to stop. But anyways, what they did, at least from what I can tell, again, it's tough because I'm just getting publicly available information and I kind of look at all the podcasts he participates in. But they moved everything to AWS. They moved as much as they could. They reduced, I'm going to get my stats wrong, and I probably should have researched it before I came on, started talking to you today, but I think they saw like a 90% reduction in their applications. They went primarily AWS from what I can tell, with a little bit of backup from Azure. Yeah, I mean, it's not just about the cost and the reduction, which is obviously CFOs love that message. And I love that message because it's just so dramatic. But the speed, the business agility, the ability to get offers to market and really impact the experience of the customer, I think that's what public cloud really drives. And you can't do it with on-premise software. Your data is in silos. It's overly customized. It's stuck. I mean, we all know when we call in, I actually had my fiber line at my home was cut on Saturday, and I had to call customer support. And you're just like, here I go into the vortex of 1 hour long calls to get a tech to come to believe me that I'm not a moron, right? Believe me that I know what I'm doing. And then number two, I have an authentic problem. It's going to take them. I'm not going to get my fiber restored until the 1st of June. So yeah, I think the public cloud really brings that subscriber, not only engagement, but just we'll start to like love our telco as much as we love Amazon and Apple. And that's the vision I'm trying to paint is don't just be better, right? Be the best. You guys know so much about us. And if you could, if you knew that, I think I pay $300, $400 a month to AT&T, right? And if they knew that I'm like going to T-Mobile, it's a true story. T-Mobile to get a 5G hotspot because I'm believing their 5G is better commercials. And I'm like, let's go to T-Mobile. They should send me 4 hotspots for my house. To be like, dude, we're sorry. It'll be fixed on June 1st, but like we're going to hotspot you up. And I have nothing from AT&T. I have nothing.
And the fact that we're in this position, DR, I mean, one of our viewers asks or points out that, you talk about telcos not being network people, but is one of the problems that the network teams and the marketing teams are too disjointed. They're not talking together. They're not working together. And if that's the case, how does the public cloud help overcome that kind of legacy problem?
Well, I don't think it's just the public cloud. I think the public cloud enables some things to make the technology work faster, work better, get insights, delivered to the subscriber. But I think what that question really highlights is the fact is we have a cultural problem inside telcos. And that's a really big, I spent some time as an HR professional, which is crazy. I have a computer science degree and I spent how long was I an HR person? I was an HR person. I was kind of in HR for 10 years, which is, I used to think it was a complete waste of time. Sorry, HR people that are listening. But now as an evangelist and even as a CEO, really, really come in handy. And changing your culture is hard work. Takes a CEO, takes a leadership team to be really bought into the vision. And what we have, or what appears to be, is inside telcos is network worship. Network has the power inside the organization. A common roadblock that is used is, but the network. We can't do that because it impacts the network. We can't move fast because it's going to impact the network. And so sort of think about the power base within a telco. It sits within the network. And what I am advocating is that it switches to marketing. And I bet you if you were to write down on a piece of paper the power base in order by function, marketing is not number 2. I bet you finance is number 2. I'm guessing, but I bet you finance is number 2. And you just make that list of where we are, where marketing falls. And I'm saying sort of turn that upside down because you have to if you're going to focus on your customer. And you need to get every single person in your organization thinking, how does this impact the customer? Not how does this impact the network? And so I think this is one of the reasons why transformations fail is that you don't address this issue of we're going to start to focus on our customer. And you keep the power base where it is, and people throw up all those roadblocks but the network, and so change doesn't happen. And so, sprinkling public cloud in your telco is not going to work unless you are changing the culture. And you need a really strong HR person to do that. A lot of times HR functions, let me tell you where the power base on HR is. I mean, it's definitely after marketing, right? But if you have a strong strategic HR thinker that can work with leaders to say, who are we and what are we going to be? And when networks fights back and says we can't do it, and marketing's really trying to get something done, we're going to defer to marketing to make the decision. Right? We're going to make the decision that's right for the customer. Maybe you still have to have a great network, but right? We're like network operations, make sure it doesn't go down and it's great, but you're not going to roadblock this progress. That is a very, very senior leadership conversation that a random manager or random marketing person, it's like, go customers, will never be able to accomplish unless you have that buy-in. And so it's HR, right? And, when was the last time you guys ever talked about HR in a in any of these webinars, right?
I was literally about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth. That is the first time we've ever talked about HR in one of our webinars. DR, I'm conscious of time, and I know you've got a couple of other points you want to make as well. But last question. Well, just one other question, if I can, because I actually did the maths, and it's about, well, it is 33 days to go until MWC. So just very quickly, is there anything else you can tell us about what to expect from TelcoDR at MWC this year? Give us a sneak peek into anything else we can expect to see.
Yeah, I mean, so number one, follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be talking a lot about my messages and sharing pictures and doing polls. I have a keynote, like I mentioned at the end of the video, on June 29th, and I'm super excited to do that. Like I said, I think, where am I going to put that? I think I'm going to do a blog post. I think I'm going to also put it out on Twitter, like all the different vendors. We're working on our tweet storm for that. And so I think number one, like I said earlier, definitely come if you can, even if it's for a day. I'm sure GSMA is like, no, don't say that. Even if it's for a day, fly into Barcelona, come to the booth, have a coffee, grab some food, check out some cloud videos. What you're going to find is all the vendors that are driving the change and the people that are just so excited to get their message out there. And I think the vendors that have decided to skip MWC, I guess they don't have anything interesting to say. We do. And we're going, and we're psyched. And so it's like a little army, right? DR's army. It's coming for Telco. And so if you want the latest news, what I'll say is connect with me on LinkedIn and on Twitter. My handle is TelcoDR. It's the same name as my business. And, planning to release some super epic content. I mentioned earlier, I have an awesome email newsletter. It's called Telco in 20, and a great podcast by the same name, Telco in 20. The other day, a couple of journalists were wondering what the 20 is for. It's because I think it's going to take me 20 years to get Telco to the public cloud. And so I'm 50 years old. I had a milestone a milestone birthday during the pandemic, which, by the way, super sucks. I'm still planning to have a 50th birthday party, but I'm going to spend the next 20 years doing this. I'm like, this is my Mount Everest, and I'm not going to stop until I climb this mountain and conquer it. And so let's go do it. I have a WhatsApp. People love WhatsApp. Maybe telcos don't love WhatsApp, but I have a WhatsApp, 925-TelcoDR. We just launched our TelcoDR Cloud City website, and so you can go get some information there. And like I said, Justin, this was super fun. Everyone else, I hope to see you in Barcelona in a month, and can't wait.
Yeah, thanks, DR. I'm looking forward to celebrating your 50th birthday then, in that case, on a yacht in Barcelona, hopefully. Well, look, we're pretty much out of time, and as I said, we're 5 weeks out from the big show, and looking forward to seeing everybody in person down in Barcelona. DR, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great talking with you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. It was so fun. I had a blast. Take care. See you soon.
Thanks, DR. And of course, thank you very much to our viewers watching. And if you did miss any of the webinar today, don't worry, we'll be making a replay of it available on mobileworldlive.com in the next 24 hours or so. Until then, thanks again to DR, and thank you to our viewers for watching. And we'll see you again very soon. Take care and goodbye.